everyone, and welcome to this second update for the development of Portage. I've got a couple things to take you through for this week, but just a bit of an update. Things have been going a little bit slower than I have wanted. I've had a pretty bad cold over the past couple of weeks. You can probably hear it in my voice. So things are going a little bit slower, but I've made some really good progress. So I wanted to cover four main things today. One, which is multi-languages, which I've wanted to build in from the beginning because I think an application like Portage is really important to support people from all over the world. And the truth is it's really quite easy to do. It just requires a little bit of work, a little bit of diligence. So I'm really pleased to have figured out how to incorporate that into the application. The other thing I'm doing is trying to repurpose or rehome what was Strategy GPT into the Portage application. I think it's probably the fastest pathway to something that's useful for people. And it sets the groundwork for some of the other features that I want to build. So the first thing is the strategic profile. And that's really just a way of describing your organization or the problems that you're facing in a way that we can then give that to the AI in a structured way. And so that those AI models can then tailor their advice and tailor what they're saying to you. That makes it much more useful and relevant than if you're just using something like ChatGPT. Now, it's probably worth pointing out you can achieve the same effect using custom instructions, but what I'd like to do in the future is make this much more dynamic in a way that custom instructions wouldn't really work. The second thing that we're feeding into the chats is the trends. Now, I've spent a bit more time on this than I had originally anticipated, and this is because I wanted to support some things to make this a really rich source for trend information. Some of the feedback I'm getting from people joining the waitlist and from just having discussions with people, the use of trends and understanding what these things, how they may influence organizations and businesses in the future is attracting a lot of attention. And so I wanted to build this feature to be quite rich and to be able to describe how trends are changing over time. And the last thing is rehoming the chat from Strategy GPT into Portage. Now, I've chosen to approach this in a different way. But I'm not going to bore you with the technical details, but what this new approach affords us is the ability to then have what's known as a generative UI. Rather than just a chat interface, which is really just textual, perhaps it's got images in it. What this generative UI will allow us to do is to build the application so that it can render out different types of components. And so the examples they use are things like stock market histories, where you can select a section of the stock market and say analyze the performance. That's not really a use case that I think is relevant for us. But what I think could be useful would be things like dealing with trend cards and also dealing with scenarios. As you're working through some of these problems, a simple text interface isn't really that convenient and can be quite easy to get lost. And so I think having something that's a little bit more interactive is really going to be very helpful to help people understand what's going on. So let's have a look. So you'll notice on the login page now, you can choose different languages. So I've set up a number. It's pretty arbitrary, the list here. I think I just picked 10. And you can see as you change that language, it updates the UI according. So let's just log in. Same as before, we're just going to get a login code sent to my email address. I'll just give that a moment to come through, which it has. I'll just get the link and we will just log in. So I haven't really done much on the dashboard. You can see nothing's really changed. Again, it's now got, hang on, move me out of the way. It's got a support for different languages, and changing that changes the language. Now, I haven't worked over everything in the UI, so there will be some gaps, but it's really just establishing that infrastructure. So the first thing is, let's have a look at the strategic profile. This is pretty much the same as it was in Strategy GPT. I've pretty much just lifted and shifted it over. So that's all working and wired up. Now let's have a look at trends. Now, there's not a lot of trends in here because this is just my local development environment, but I'll give you an idea of how things work. So I'm able to, for example, create a new trend. So let's say here is another trend, and this one happens to be a social trend. So we'll go and create that. And then I can drill into it. Now, what you'll notice here is that the trend itself has a number of different versions, and this is the feature that I wanted to add, because over time trends will go through a bit of a life cycle. They'll start emerging, and then at some point we will say that they're trending, as in they're sort of gathering steam. And when a trend is peaking is when it's at its maximum impact, and then it's declining. And it's really important, I think, to understand where a trend is on that trend curve, and also what trajectory it's going in. And so having this richer model, so we can just have, for example, description 1, I can save a version, right? And I can also create a new version. So you can see that version 1 may have been emerging, version 2 could be trending, and so on. And so in doing this, I'm able to model how that trend's changing over time. And I think that provides a much richer picture of that trend. So once I'm really happy with this, we'll take some of the other trends I've developed for some of the other products. For example, the Strategic 100, we'll load that into here, and so then it'll be made available for the chat AIs to pick up. And so lastly, let's go have a look at the chat. Now, this isn't all the way completed yet. There's still a lot of work to do. It's not loading the trends, and it's not loading the profile, for example. We'll be working on those in the next week. So the user experience is pretty much similar to how Strategy GPT was, in that it's got a set of prompts ready for you. You can do some searching, so you can type, I'm looking for example, scenario planning, or I want to look at something about workforce, actually maybe just strategies, and so on. You can also filter by different categories, so you can say that I would like to have, hang on. So yeah, we're able to filter by different categories, and then you can see those prompts there. You can click a prompt, and it will load that prompt, and you can also choose different options. Now, if you don't want the prompts, you can clear them out, and you can... Now, that's obviously a bug there. So let's go back. Well, I'll just reload. Well, there you go. Don't do a demo unless you are 100% ready. That's certainly the lesson there. All right, so we're back. So you can type in your own prompt if you like, or you can choose one of the pre-canned ones. And then you're also able to choose different options. So we're supporting different AI models. So right now I've got OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. These are the top-end models from each of those different providers. Performance is really good on some of these. Both Anthropic and GPT-4o are great. I haven't had that much experience with Gemini 1.5 Pro, although I did do something with it the other week, and I found it to be vastly superior to both GPT-4o and Anthropic's Claude. So I think as time goes on, we'll probably look at tuning some of the prompts and having the prompts aligned to which model provides the best performance. Now, the other thing we've got are different personalities. So this would be also something you could do if you're using a ChatGPT and its custom instructions, you could put in what I, for example, have in here to steer the AI model to how you would like it to respond. This is obviously much more convenient, and you can choose different options based on what you're trying to do. So some of the prompts are designed to be more interactive. So it'll ask you a question, and then you provide an answer, and it'll continue to ask you questions. Those ones work really great with the coach model. Other ones are, for example, write me a strategy about a certain topic. In those cases, the Genius model is really good, the Genius personality is really good because it provides a kind of one response, but very, very comprehensive. But for this example, we're just going to do the base model. These don't actually do anything right now, and we can start a new chat. So you can see it's chatting just like you would expect, and it's putting out quite a lot of content. So this would be, again, an example of where using that Genius personality would be advantageous. And I'm not going to read through the content of this, but it's quite there. It's there. We can also, on the right-hand side, you can have a look at your different chats through your chat history. You can pin chats to the top. And so what that means is that those chats go right up to the top. Normally it's organized or sorted by the date. We can obviously unpin those chats. And if you don't want the chat to be front and center anymore, you can archive it. And there's another tab there where we can see our different archives. And when you're ready, you can start a new chat. So that's what I've been working on. Probably got another week or so to go to finalize the functionality and fix some of the bugs we've seen today. And then to go through all the UI elements and make sure that the internationalization components are there and it's being translated into different languages. And then from there, we'll start to work on the strategy boards, where we'll start to map things out in more of a 2D canvas interface. But that's going to be a bit exploratory. I don't actually know how that's going to play out. So we'll have to see how that works and what the usability is like and how well that's able to deliver value. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks.